Hi, Year Sevens. So today we are starting the new topic of decimals. So I'm going to start off by going through what exercises and chapters we're going to be covering, and we're going to start off with the first exercise. So this table is in your OneNote. Let me just zoom out. So this is in maths. So this is obviously week 7. Oh, sorry, you'll be watching it in week 6, but this is the table. So um, on the side here, it's telling you the topic. What you'll be able to do is the second column, and the last column is what exercise and what book. So exercise in year 7, 6.2, we're looking at place value and comparing decimals. So I'm assuming you guys have a basic understanding of what a decimal is, of place values and things like that, because I know you guys did in primary school. Then we're going to look at exercise 6.3, again in the year 7 book. We're going to try link fractions, decimals, and percentages, because obviously they are all connected. Then we are going to look at rounding decimals, rounding up, rounding down, and repeating decimals. So that is exercise 6.4 in the year 7 book, as well as exercise 4.7 in the year 8. So there's going to be, so in the first 3, you're going to be using the year 7, and then we're moving on to year 8. Then we're looking at terminating and recurring decimals. So that's in the year 8 textbooks, 4.4. Adding and subtracting decimals, which is exercise 4.5 in year 8. Multiplying and dividing decimals, that can be quite tricky, but I'm going to show you some methods on how you can do it. Hopefully you guys have done some before. If not, it's okay, but that's also from the year 8 book. So this is going through literally what we're going to be doing, I think till the rest of the term. If not, I'll let you know, but make sure you have this written down, or printed or something, so you know what's happening. All right, so we're going to start off with exercise 6.2 from the year 7 book. So I want everyone to write that as their title. So the new title is decimals, and the subheading can be year 7, exercise 6.2. So we're looking at place value and comparing decimals. Okay, guys, so I would have emailed you this document. So you can write and follow along this document. Ignore my dog, he's barking at the front neighbors. What was I saying? Yes, so I've emailed this document. You can type and write, or if you have it printed, follow along as I go. Or if you want, you can write it in your book or in your OneNote. Like I said, be consistent. So if you if the last probability exercise you were doing in OneNote, you can continue doing it on there. If you're doing your book, do it on there, that's totally fine. All right, so this is title year 7, 6.2, place value and comparing decimals. So hopefully you guys have seen this kind of table before. So obviously you've got the decimal here. The numbers on the right, so the left side of the decimal, so these ones here, they're called units. You may have heard it be called ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands, which is what we use in everyday life. Then on the right side of the decimal, you've got the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and 10,000ths column. So be familiar with what each number would represent. So we're going to do some examples, and I'm going to go through how to use this table to help you. Most of you guys may already know it, but like I said, we're just easing in. Okay, so let's have a look at this question here. It says find the value of 2 in these numbers. So all we have to do is literally be like, okay, this is 23. So what does that 2 represent? Is the units, tens, hundreds, thousands, etc. So obviously these are whole numbers. There aren't any decimals here. So this 2 the value of it is just 20, right? Pretty easy. This one, again, it's a second column. So remember, we're going this way. So it's in the tens column. So that means you have two 20s. So 20. 2 tens, sorry, which is 20. And this one, 245, even by just verbally saying it, you already know what it represents. So this 2 will represent 200. So if you're having trouble, what you can do is, an easy way to do it is you write it out like this. The decimal stays here, and that 2 is in the tens column. How many tens are there? There's 2 of them, which is why there's 20. But I think that's pretty straightforward. If we go across here, now we've got decimals involved. So you need to use the right side of the column. So find the value of 4 in these numbers. So this 4 is the one next to the decimal. So if I get rid of this one, if I were to rewrite this again, it'll be 15.49. That 4 is in the tens column. So find the value of those. Sorry, just give me one sec, guys. Okay, so like I said, the 4 is in the tens column. So how many tenths are there? There's 4 of them. So you just write it as a fraction here, 4 tenths. This one, again, you don't have to use this table. If you already know it, you can definitely do it. So we have decimals here, it's 0, 0, 4. It's in the thousands columns. There's 4 of them, so 4 thousands. And this one's in the second column. It's in the hundreds column, so 4 out of 100. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's what this chapter is really about. So we give you a number, and we can ask you what the place value is. So where is it located using that table, and what the number actually represents. All right, this one. Have a go at this one. I want you to try yourself. Pause the video and try this one. For the number 76, I can't actually say it. For this particular number, write the value of each of the digit in words and numbers. All right, so you want to write it in words and numbers. Have a go. Okay, so for this one, what I want you guys to do is obviously this is, that's 76.204. Also a way to say the numbers after the decimal. You don't say 0.204. You have to say each number individually, so 0.204. Okay, so we've got 76. Let's look at the whole numbers first. So we've got 70, so I'm going to write it like this. So what they're asking you to do is write it one by one. We've got the 6 like that. Then we've got the 2 after the decimal. And if we go back to here, if it's after the decimal, it's in the tenths. So how many tenths are there? There's 2 tenths. So I'm going to write as a fraction, and words is 2 tenths. The next one is 0 out of 100, but this is the next column down. So I'll write this as 0 hundredths. Be careful, remember it's THS at the end. And the last 4 is, I'll write it here, 4 out of 1,000, so that's 4 thousandths. Oh, I know I got cut off. So remember, use this table to help you out if you're struggling with it. Okay, let's have a look at the last 2 questions. Let's have a look at this one. I want you to try this one. So write 3.4501 in expanded notation. So what that means is writing it all out when you're going to expand it using the place value table. So have a go at that. Okay, so for this one, guys, what you need to do is kind of like what we did here, separate it out. So we know that there's a 3 as a whole, new addition sign. Then this 4 is in the next column after the decimal. So if we go back, it's tenths. So there's 4 tenths and 5 100ths, 0 thousands, and 1 2 3 4 10,000. So obviously I know 10,000 is actually on here. Yes, it is. This is the last one. So that's how you kind of write it out in numbers. So what they're asking you to do is, obviously there's how many 3s? So this 3, right? We know that's in this column here. So how many units are there? There's 3 of them, right? So remember, unit is just 1, so we're just going to write 3 times 1. What we're going to do, I'll show when I do the fractions, it might be clearer. And then what you do, so we're looking at the tenths, right? How many tenths are there? There's 4 of them. So the way you write it, I might actually use a different color to help distinguish. If I do the addition signs this way, might be easier. Just give me 1 sec. Okay. Then there are 4 tenths. So you can write this as, how many 1/10ths are there? There's 4 of them. So it's like you're multiplying, right? 1/10 times 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 is going to give you 4, or 1/10 times 4. Then this one, how many 1/100ths are there? There's 5 of them. With this one, obviously there's 0, so we're just going to disregard that. We're just going to leave it out. And this one, I'm just going to write it as 1/10,000 because it's the same as going that times 1. So that's literally, I know this one's a bit of a difficult one, but we'll do more questions in class as well. But the main things you need to know is the first 3 questions and then this last one here. So comparing decimals, find the bigger number in each of the following. So we'll just get rid of this one. So from A and B, out of these 3 numbers, which one is the biggest one? So remember, when you're looking at this, when you go further and further away from the decimal towards the right, you're becoming smaller. For example, the first one is 1/10. So what that means, let's say in a block of chocolate that has 10 pieces, you've eaten 1, right? But if we go to 10,000s, let's say you've got 10,000 chocolate pieces and you've eaten 1. So it's obviously, you'll get more chocolate out of the 10th one, right? Because the chocolates are broken up into less pieces. So the more further away you are from the decimal, if you go towards the right, you're becoming smaller. The number's becoming much smaller. All right, so have a go at this one. The first one is 0.126, 0.216, and 0.122. The best way to do it is when it starts with 0 point something, is what I do is I literally ignore the zeros and I look at just the decimals. So if I ignore the zeros here, if I get rid of them, I've got 126, 216, 122. What would the bigger number be? It's obviously this one here. So find the largest number. So I'm going to write 0.216. Pretty easy. The next one, however, where it says 2.384, 2.388, 2.138. So that means it's got 2 as a whole. All of them are consistent, but we have to look at the decimal part. Again, because the numbers in front, because the decimal is exactly the same, so the 2 is exactly the same in all 3, I have to look at the place values of these numbers here. So we've got 384, 388, 138. By looking at all those 3 numbers, which one is the biggest? It's this one here. So 2.388. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes sense. If you're having trouble with it, go back to the video, replay it, and see how you go. These are the questions I want you to try now. So this is in the Year 7 book, Jack Plus 6.2. It's on page 208. So remember, you can go on the PDF. Do questions 1, A, B, C, D, question 3D, question 5, B, C, D, E, 8, 10, 11. It won't take you that long. It will take you the rest of the lesson. If you finish earlier, then you're free to go. You don't have to upload it anywhere. Wherever you've been doing your work, any kind of Jack Plus work, keep it where it is. So if you've been doing your book, do it in your book. That's totally fine. We're going to go through the hard questions next lesson. So as you're doing the questions, if you're struggling with some of them, highlight it or do an asterisk, because the next lesson on Zoom, I'm going to go through these questions. But yeah, see how you go. Good luck.